Hello everyone, so I will be doing my February wrap up. For the month of February, I read 3 books. I had the flu in February, so I was pretty much just lying in bed doing nothing, but I still managed to read 3 books, so I think that's pretty great. So let's get started. The first book I read was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. By reading The Alchemist, I was able to complete all my goals. It was a diverse read. It was a book that I normally wouldn't choose, and it fulfilled my "oh no they didn't" challenge for the month of February, which is pick a book that was written by a Brazilian author or that was about Brazil or set in Brazil. And Paulo Coelho is a Brazilian author. This follows a shepherd boy named Santiago who keeps having this recurring dream of a boy telling him that there is treasure at the foot of an Egyptian pyramid. Santiago meets this old man, and this old man tells Santiago that it is his personal legend to go to Egypt and find this treasure. So this book is about Santiago going to pursue his dream. Gave this a 3.5-star rating. I thought this was a beautiful book about following your dreams and not letting anything get in your way. However, I just thought it wasn't for me. It has a very optimistic outlook. I personally just didn't connect with it. I can see why people find it so inspirational, but I feel like I am too cynical to be inspired by it and take in all the lessons. I think this book would help people who are like my boyfriend. I think he would benefit from some of the lessons that are taught in this book. He is in that phase where he's trying to find his personal calling and sticking with it. At times, he really understands what he wants from life and is so passionate about it and so driven, but other times he doubts it and then he becomes lost. So this book, I think, will help him to just believe in himself and believe that this is his personal calling and understand that there will be obstacles, but once you know what you want from life, you will do anything to achieve it. I really liked the story with the crystal merchant. I think many people can relate to him more than Santiago. Santiago is just so driven to pursue his dream. The merchant's dream is to always go to Mecca. He started the crystal merchant business because when he realized the dream of going to Mecca, he didn't have enough money. Now that he does have enough money, he's afraid to achieve it because once he achieves his goals, he's afraid that there's going to be nothing more to live for. He keeps on working and he keeps on going through life because of this dream of pursuing his goal, and so he's afraid if he goes to Mecca, then he has nothing left to drive him to keep on working. Also, it's been a long time since he wanted to go to Mecca. He's dreamed about it. He dreamed of what it's like, the people, and so he's afraid if he goes there, it will just be a disappointment. And so he just prefers to dream about it. I feel like many people can relate to it. They have this dream of doing something, but not actually wanting to do it, because then what? Another lesson that this book teaches is that there's only one thing that makes your dream impossible, and that is the fear of failure. So while I don't believe that there's only one thing that makes your dream impossible, I do find this statement true. People are so afraid to go after what they want because they are afraid they won't succeed at it. So they would rather not do it at all than to fail. And I don't think this is healthy, because then later in life, when you're older, you will regret it because you always have this what if. What if I actually did pursue my dream? What if it actually worked out? So I feel like it is better to go after your dream and might fail than to regret it later in life. So I will say that God plays a big role in this book. However, I feel like if you aren't religious, you can find different meanings into it. I think you can still understand the meaning of what they are trying to say and interpret it in a different way other than God, which is what I did. What I did like about this book is that it's pretty much straightforward. The lessons that it's trying to teach you are spelt out for you. There isn't any confusion on what this book is trying to tell you. Then it is easier for you to apply those lessons to your own life. The second book I read was Zenith by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. I did a whole separate review for this book, which I explained why I gave it a 3-star rating. The last book I read in the month of February was John Dies at the End by David Wong. So this is a science fiction fantasy humor novel. It is about David and John who experience all these weird phenomenons and then they gain the reputation of dealing with the paranormal. I gave this a 3.5-star rating. It is a very weird book. It did have me laughing out loud, but it was just very weird. And to demonstrate how weird this book can be, I will be reading some passages from it. So it says, "We're talking about a tentacle flying lamp fucker, Dave. What are you prepared to call unlikely?" Another one is, "The phrase sodomized by a bratwurst poltergeist suddenly flew through my mind." Another one is, "Around us, the disembodied human limbs were piling up, forming a circle around the fountain, fusing themselves to each other like Satan's Lego set." So those are just some of the weird passages from this book. As you can see, that it is gruesome and it does deal with a lot of adult themes and it does use some strong language. So I would say this book is more for an older audience. When I picked this book up, I didn't know what to expect, but the first page had me very interested because it said, "Let's say you have an axe, just a cheap one from Home Depot. On one bitter winter night, you used said axe to behead a man. Don't worry, the man was already dead, or maybe you should worry because you're the one who shot him." When I read that, I knew this book would be for me. So even though I was laughing out loud and I thought it was very witty, the reason I gave it a 3.5-star rating is because I thought it was longer than it should have been. Some of the parts did drag on and I thought weren't necessary. But other than that, I did enjoy reading this book and I would probably continuing with the series because it is a series. Those are all the books I read in the month of February. Like and subscribe and I'll see y'all later. Bye!